Ghana, NAPSA, both teams making us proud, making it to the Confederation group stages, if I can say. We saw NAPSA winning it late, or maybe we just play this clip before we get into discussion and see how NAPSA ended that penalty, which came as a controversy in the dying last minute. If the clip is ready, let's see the NAPSA clip.
But the struggle is still on here. That is where it's so frustrating. A minute to go.
Seconds to go.
Well, stretch that to a minute. You just never know what might happen in there.
Goodness me.
Referee will be blowing his whistle, and it will be goodbye to the journey for NAPSA Stars, and another familiar hello for Gor Mahia. The referee will allow this attack, perhaps NAPSA's last. Throw in. Quickly taken. Floated into the 18. Headed out. Chance here. A lifeline being given by the referee. A chance. And the referee is poised to the spot. The Stars with the lifeline here. And here's what happened.
But that's what happens when you power pressure on your opponents. NAPSA Stars should have been doing this earlier on. Great skill from the young man who just came in on Mukea. Piling pressure, and that was a penalty without a doubt. You don't need VAR to come to the foot. That was a penalty. The late challenge
is a penalty by all standards.
But the question, Franklin, is this the moment that NAPSA Stars gets into the group stage of the
Emmanuel Mayuka versus Otieno. NAPSA Stars have qualified to the group stage. Emmanuel Mayuka is the man. Emmanuel Mayuka comes to the party. Emmanuel Mayuka is a hero. Unbelievable scenes here at the national.
Augustine, some controversy there where we saw the ref pointing at the penalty spot exactly in the 94th plus minute. I don't know for you if I don't know. What's your take on it anyway?
Yeah, I think dramatic ends at the National Hero Stadium. I think to me it was a clear penalty. Jimmy Mukea was fouled by the Gor Mahia defender. A lot of people have cried foul in Kenya. The game would have ended at the 94th minute exactly, but NAPSA Stars were still in attack. I don't think the ref can end the game from that point. He had to see that phase of play die out, so that's when he could have blown for the final whistle. But NAPSA Stars left it later to save themselves and see themselves qualify into the group stages.
Let's look at NAPSA. How do you allow early goals like that? We saw Gor Mahia coming in. They came in the actual day that the game was being played. Was it a mind game for the Gor Mahia team trying to give NAPSA more of a thing to say maybe the game won't be there?
I think it's a matter of logistics, travel logistics. Gor Mahia had challenges in that respect, and they arrived at the KK International Airport somewhere around 12, and they left the airport at 13. And direct from the airport, direct to the National Hero Stadium to play NAPSA Stars. It would have had a psychological effect on the players because they would have been aware of what was going on. Because as a footballer, if you are not sure if you're going to play a game, you drop your guard. That's what happens with what happened with NAPSA Stars. You saw, and going into the encounter, what NAPSA Stars shouldn't have done was to allow Gor Mahia come back into the tie. That was the one thing that NAPSA Stars could have worked on, and unfortunately they allowed Gor Mahia into the tie. They scored an early goal. NAPSA Stars equalized through Austin Banda. Then Gor Mahia took the lead again. From that point, I must say, after Gor Mahia took the lead up to the 94th minute, NAPSA Stars did nothing to guarantee to go into the group stages. They didn't play like a team which looked like they wanted to get into the group stage up until the point maybe the introduction of Jimmy Mukea and Aaron Kawi, who brought a little bit of life to the NAPSA Stars. team. I think it's something which NAPSA Stars going into the group stage they should address, because if you look at their passage through to the group stages, they've played 3 home games, they've won 1 and drawn the other 2, which is not very good. As you are going into the group stage, you need to maximize your home advantage. Group stage football, it's all about taking advantage of your home ground, and then going away you try and be a solid team, difficult to break down, try and get a point. If you get a victory, it's a bonus. And going into the game, we had talked about Emmanuel Mayuka leading up to the game, the experience you come in when it matters most, and it showed. In the 94th minute, how many players would love to take that spot kick? He had all the nerves and the confidence to take the penalty. He had to stand there for a couple of minutes because Gomahia players were protesting. It shows the experience that Emmanuel Mayuka has to have the calmness to put the ball behind the back of the net. And NAPSA Stars, you could have thought they could have defended a little bit better, because they had 2 defensive midfielder in Daniel Adoko and Dixon Chapa in front of a back 4 of David Odiambo, Luka Banda, Anostembo and Bonwo Sirengo. But they did not do that. They allowed Gomahia to find spaces in the final third. They controlled the tempo of the game. They pass it around. NAPSA Stars, they didn't defend as a unit like they have been defending in previous games. They left a lot of holes in their backline, and Gomahia exploited them, because a couple of shots on the edge of the box, I think you cannot allow that when you are playing with 2 defensive midfielder. 1 defensive midfielder needs to be in that area so that he closes down everything which comes in that area, because that's the main point. You're playing 2 holding midfielders. One will sit in front of the 2 center backs so that they don't get exposed, and the other holding midfielder will try and close space in the flanks, because most of the times you find your fullback is being attacked, and you need one of your defensive midfielders to go across and put pressure on the ball so that they do not put that ball into the box. But they did not do that. It had to take substitutions from Mohamed Fati. He withdrew one of the defensive midfielders in Daniel Adoko and brought in Aaron Kawe and Jimmy Mukea, who are more attack-minded, and it paid for NAPSA Stars, and they got the penalty, scored and qualified into the group stage, and congrats to NAPSA Stars.
We saw a doubtful where we saw Ghana beating TAS de Casablanca home by 2-0, and Ghana went there with an upper advantage. But to our shock, the way things turned there. So we can just see maybe how Ghana fared when they faced TAS Casablanca that was away from home. Let's just look at this clip. That was a Simon Mulenga goal, Augustine, the goal that saved NAPSA because they had to carry an away goal advantage. So the aggregate ended NAPSA 3, TAS de Casablanca 2. And looking at the way Ghana fared, for me, I would say all the goals that were being scored by Just the Casablanca came from set pieces. So for me, I felt like the defending was a bit weak for Ghana.
I think the problem with Zambian teams whenever they travel to North Africa continues, and Ghana Football Club going into Casablanca, they were very, very aware. This is a team which is languishing bottom of the league in the second tier, not the first tier, the Premier League, but the second tier in Morocco. And you would have thought Ghana were going to qualify, which they did, but the performance in the second leg, the first 45 minutes was really unforgettable by the standards of Ghana Football Club, because most of these North African sides, their strength is set plays and putting a lot of balls in the box when they go into wide areas. They're gonna put in a lot of crosses which you have to defend very, very well. The first goal, you do not concede the set piece in such an area. It's very, very dangerous position to concede, and I think there was nothing much the goalkeeper would have done, because it was a very well taken set piece by the Casablanca striker. And the second goal was the most disappointing, because it's a set piece which is far away from your box. You commit a foul in your area, automatically when you're playing against North African teams, they're going to put it into the box, which they did. Ghana won the first ball, but they did not react to the second ball. That was the biggest problem. Ghana could have reacted quicker than Casablanca to the second ball. And the first mistake you do not allow to the first ball. Then they pick up possession in a wide area. What do you do now? You go tight. There is no loose marking in the box. You go tight to your opponent, so that when the ball comes in, you are forced to attack. But they did not do that, and they conceded a very, very cheap goal, which now brought the tie back into a 50-50 situation. Tusk would have qualified from that point. Ghana would have qualified. Yeah. I think credit must go to Kelvin Kaindu. His tactical awareness, he saw that Mishek Chaila was being passed around in that central midfield. He couldn't get a foothold of the ball, and he removed Chaila and fed Sutra Shimenga for Zingai and Akim Mumba, who was very, very live on the right hand side. When he came on, you could see they equalized through they got that away goal. A long ball was being played through to Akim Mumba. Fantastic first touch from the young lad. Cuts inside the defender and finds Simon Mulenga, who turns and shoots, which is something which a young striker, if young strikers saw that, it's very, very good thinking from the striker. You just need to turn and shoot, know where you're positioning and know where the goal is, which Simon Mulenga did very, very well. Here he was guilty of missing a chance in the first half, Simon Mulenga, which could have
so he accounted for that.
Yeah, he did that very, very well. But I must say, most of the times in these CAF competitions, be it the national team or club level, most of the times you always come out to cry foul when we are eliminated, that the officiating was poor. On that day, the officiating was very, very poor, I must say. It looked like the referee was trying to achieve something. But Ghana defended very, very well. They defended away from their box in the second half, and they did not allow the referee to do what he wanted to do, because he was always trying to blow for any foul. On the Casablanca player, any contact was a foul. You could see the yellow card they gave to Akim Mumba. It's never a yellow card in my view. The yellow card they gave to Richard Okran, yes, it was a foul, but does it warrant a yellow card? And the sending off, which was very, very poor. We must be complaining about this, because this will carry on into the group stages. The officiating was really, really poor by the standards of the referee and the standard of the competition.
Let's look at both teams. After qualifying to the group stages, they were grouped in groups. So let's first look at the group where Ghana is and see who they are facing and if they stand any chance. So Augustine, that's the table. Ghana is faced in Group D.
Now Ghana meets the real Raja Casablanca. This is now a very, very tough test for Kalampa. They will meet Pyramid, who haven't lost a game away from home in continental football. They are meeting Namungo FC from Tanzania, who went past Petro the Augusto in the qualifying round. It's a very, very tricky group. If Nkana can continue with their good form at home, they haven't lost a game at Chilata. If they can get 9 points at Chilata and hope for a draw away from home, then Nkana Football Club surely they are going to make it into the quarterfinals. It's a tricky group because you are playing two North African oppositions which have always dominated. Yeah, they have always dominated continental football. How do we approach these situations? Firstly, we need to pick the 9 points at home. Maximize your home advantage. If you're going to get 9 points at home, we will just need 1 point away from home and qualify into the next round. Looking at the Nkana Football Club, the way they've been playing under Kelvin Kaindu, they've been scoring goals, but defensively they haven't been very, very solid. They need to work on that the way they defend, because going into the group stages, teams will come, like North African teams, they'll come here, they'll sit back and try to hit you on a counter. That's one thing Nkana should be aware of, because they are going to allow you to have possession. Then they'll try and pick out the loopholes in your defense and capitalize, and when they score first, it's very, very difficult to come back from behind and win. So what Ghana needs to do, get 9 points at home and push the one for that 1 point away from home. If you look at that group against the Tanzania opposition, we can get 6 points from there. Beat the Tanzanian side home and away, and then hope for
advantage.
Yeah, and Ghana would qualify from the group. If you can get 6 points, from Pyramid and Casablanca, we are in for a chance, because we need to beat those teams at least one game. We beat them here in Zambia, we beat Pyramid here in Zambia, and Casablanca we have got a chance.
When Ghana plays like a home game in the Confederation, that's a continental competition, they'll be defending their title to say they are unbeaten. So I feel like it would be so hard for teams that will be visiting the Kalampa Stadium, which is Pachilata. Let's take a look at where NAPSA is grouped after qualifying with. That's where NAPSA is grouped, and it also has got a Moroccan team there, which is
Barakan. I think these are the defending champions. So they are. This will be their first involvement in continental football, because as CAF regulations now, the champions do not play any qualifiers, they just come direct into the group stage. They have got JSK Kabia, one of those sides who are missing in continental football, but now they are back. Cotton Sport, they eliminated Green Eagles. Can NAPSA revenge that? That remains to be seen. It's a fair group, I must say, because if you look at the teams that are in continental football right now, there is no easy group. Two North African oppositions and one from Central Africa or West Africa. Yeah, Cameroon, it's very, very tricky. NAPSA Stars need to do what we have just been talking about when it comes to the group stages. They need to get at least 9 points at home and hope for that away victory. If you look at Muhammad Fati and his NAPSA Stars, Muhammad Fati was tasked to qualify NAPSA Stars into the group stages. Now NAPSA Stars do not play with pressure, because they have achieved what they wanted, is to get into the group stages. Now maybe we may see a much better NAPSA Stars, because they will be playing without pressure. It's just going out there and enjoy yourselves and pick those points, because at National Hero Stadium, when Barakan come, they will try and frustrate and bully NAPSA. NAPSA needs to be strong, mentally and physically, because these are the defending champions. Going away in Morocco, you do not need to go into North Africa and lose by a very, very big margin. Yeah, you need
difficulty.
Yeah, it's very, very tricky. It dampens your confidence, so we need to work on that. I think NAPSA Stars do stand a chance in that group. It's a very, very open group. If I must say, Cotton Sport, they did very well against Green Eagles. I watched them. They are a very direct team. They do not dominate position that much, but they are very, very direct and very, very clinical in front of goal. NAPSA Stars need to be wary of that. Barakan, they have been doing well in the league. They did well in continental football last season. Again, it's all about counter-attack football, physical. The physicality, we cannot match them. They are very, very physical side. And JSK Kabia, it's always tricky going into North Africa. I think the most, to be honest, the most strong team in the NSAMA group is just the defending champions. That remaining slot is open for all the three teams. It's just how NSAMA approach these games. If they can improve their home form and do as well as they have been doing away from home, NSAMA stand a big chance.
You know, those are the two teams that qualified. That's NSAMA and Ghana, who are representing us in the CAF Confederation Cup, and the competition has now reached the group stages. And before we get into details to give you more updates in terms of what's happening in the sports world, we'll just take a very, very short break and we'll be right back.
This season, the Kitwe Derby turns up the intensity.
One of Africa's most fierce derbies.
With renewed hope.
That's what goalkeeper comes to the party.
More goals.
Just takes a shot. And it's a goal! Amazing stuff.
More tackles.
What it means in terms of the derby.
More passion.
Talk about more drama derby day in Kitwe here.
And more glory. We've been there before. It's now their time.
What a game we have here.
Let the showdown begin.
That we live long enough to say we fly.
The Bible says, I knew you before I placed you in your mother's womb.
Apples and bananas. Work and wait, and this what you've been praying for.
Hello, have you heard about NSAMA? Do you know that you can advertise for as low as 150 kwacha for 30 seconds? Well, NSAMA is here. Advertise on NSAMA between 17 hours and 18 hours. Just tell us about the services that you offer and we'll gladly put you on the market. For more details, you can contact +260 953 995099. +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. NSAMA, allowing your business to grow.
Augustine, one of the big games being played today, that's Ghana versus Power Dynamos, and we've seen how someone sculpted that advert in terms of the build-up to the Ghana Power Dynamos, which is one of the biggest derbies that we have here in the country. So the game is starting at 15 hours, that's sharp. The game is being played at Pachilata today. What's your comment on it?
Yeah, I think fantastic advert and great initiative, good advert for Zambian football. This is being dubbed as one of the biggest derbies, not just in Zambian football, but in Africa. Yeah, and we've seen a couple of derbies here in Zambia who are trying to compare their derbies to this big derby. But we must say, in years gone by, we would have seen this derby being probably a title decider, teams fighting for the title, but unfortunately both teams are in mid-table, which reduces the hype of the game. They haven't had the best starts to the season. Both may miss out on Barclays Cup football because Ghana would need to win all their games in hand for them to qualify for that last slot of the APSA Cup. And it's a shame to see these powerhouses of Zambian football miss out on APSA Cup, the only camp competition in the country. And going into the game, Ghana Football Club are on a high after qualifying into the group stages and meeting the local rivals in Power Dynamos. It's going to be an interesting encounter because most of these the last 5-6 meetings between these sides, the away team has won. So it's a tricky affair for Nkana. They need to change that statistics because Power Dynamos have gone there 3 times and won, and they have gone to Arthur Davis as well and won. So if you look at this Power outfit, they are very, very good defensive. They have conceded 13 goals in the league and scored 14. So you may see where the problem is. They're not scoring enough goals, Power Football Club. And it's something which I thought they were going to address in the January transfer window, but they did not do that. So now they just have to make do with what they have. David Daka is always in that starting 11. You don't know what he does for Power Dynamos because he does not score. He's a striker. His job is to score goals, but he's been struggling in front of goal. David Daka, I don't even remember when was the last time he scored the goal. Power Dynamos have had the problem in that area because if you see the two top scorers in the team are defensive midfielders in Benson Sakala and Godfrey Ngwenya, the attacking midfielders. You cannot have midfielders as your leading scorers. These strikers in Mapem Sonda, Biston Banda, David Daka, they need to do more. Alex Ngonga, they need to do more because, okay, to be fair, David Daka is the one who has seen a lot of action amongst the striker. You have got a midfielder of Spencer Sautu, Joshua Mutale, Godfrey Ngwenya, Lame Kafwaya. Surely there is a lot of creativity in that Power Dynamo setup, but they are just not putting those chances, making them count. And they have had a couple of, they've dropped points due to poor goalkeeping by the young goalkeepers in Jack Kakunta and Rollins Mulenga. Yeah, they have costed Power Dynamos. They've dropped points because of poor goalkeeping. And to be fair, in other games, these 2 goalkeepers have won points for Power Dynamos. They have won a couple of points for Abayero. One thing I've noticed about this Power Dynamo setup is most of the times when they're playing these big games, when they remain compact and solid, the game may end 0-0. They play Green Eagles, it ended 0-0. Once Power Dynamos score, that's when they become vulnerable. We saw against Lusaka Dynamos, we saw against Quito United, we saw against Zesco United. They are more vulnerable in their score and they are more comfortable in the game. It's 0-0. One area they need to sort out again is just central defense. They need the leader in that central defense. Yes, Rafael Makubuli was the captain. They have got White Mwanambawa, but they do not have that presence, the character that the Power Dynamos had in recent years, the Kamzati Kaways, the Billy Monda, Billy Mutare. They do not have those kind of players anymore. And looking at Ghana Football Club, Kelvin Kaindu crossed the road. He was once at Power Dynamos. Jimmy Zingai once at Power Dynamos. Now they have found a new home at Chirata, and they are playing a Power Dynamo side which is consistently inconsistent, same as Ghana. One thing about Kelvin Kaindu's side is that they're playing more attacking football, and they're trying to put the ball on the floor, unlike previous Ghana teams. Previous Ghana teams were very, very direct, and it worked for them because they had the likes of Idris Mbombo, Wotawali, are very big, strong and quick center forwards who they can play long balls to him and start playing from there. But now they do not have that. They have got Simon Mulenga. He's rediscovering his form. He struggled a bit at Lusaka Dynamos and then Nakambala, but it seems that he's found a new home at Ghana Stadium. Akim Mumba, same applies, struggled at Red Arrows, he's moved on to Ghana. He seems to be a very different player. Emmanuel Mwindi, it didn't go well for him at Buildcon. So basically what Ghana have done, they've picked players who haven't been performing that much in the Zambian league and made them feel at home and believed in them. And you can see in the way this Ghana side plays, it's no longer about individual play. Now they are more of a team and they are more of a unit. This is what makes them very, very dangerous going into this derby.
Would you say Kelvin Kaindu is trying to build a youthful Ghana team? Because from the way we are looking at it, the usage of these players we call veterans is not there anymore.
Yeah, you can see Zadesa Ngambamba is not seeing a lot of action. We've seen young Jackson Mwanza at right back. He's a nephew to Billy Mwanza. He's very, very young, under 20 international. He's being given minutes. We've seen Gondwe, the young under 20 international. He's also being given minutes. We've seen the defender under 20 who won with the Africa Cup with Zambia, Moses Nyondo, he's seeing a lot of game time. He's trying to create a youthful side which has got energy and will respect that badge, because it's all about Nkana Football Club than you as a player. Yeah, you need to respect the badge more. And you can see these Ghana players, yes, they may be average, but they respect that badge and they're playing with a lot of passion. And you can see Ghana fans would appreciate that. Someone who's going into the field of play and putting in a shift, not just to go into the game just because you're a big name and the game just bypasses you. We've seen a different light on Tole at left back. He's one of the best left backs now in the Zambian league. He's very, very solid. He looks organized. And Richard Okran playing alongside Moyo, he looks very, very different. He's not the Okran we saw in the last 3 months or so. He's developed his game now with Moyo, alongside Moyo. They looked very, very solid at the back. And Mishek Chaila sitting in front of him, although he does not have the legs like he used to, but he's been supported in central midfield by Duke Abuya, who is very, very good, I must say. He's been very, very loyal to Nkana ever since he came. He's always hardworking, always puts in a sheet for the side, and it will be a battle of midfield in this derby, because Power Dynamos will always like to control possession and dictate play. They have got Benson Sagala in their central midfield, Godfrey Ngwenya, they have got the young Joshua Mutale, Spencer Sautu. It's very, very interesting. What formation does Perry Mutapa go into this derby, because they are lacking in goals? Does he go in with 2 strikers? But if he goes in with 2 strikers, he loses out in central midfield. That's a gamble which maybe they are going to take Power Dynamos or not. That remains to be seen. Ghana Football Club, does Kelvin Kaindu as well maintain the 2 strikers in Mwindi and Simon Mulenga? Then they will lose that battle in central midfield. It's very, very tricky. I think at the end of it, it's about the manager who comes up with the best tactics who's going to win this derby.
We've got another interesting encounter. That's both NAPSA, who also qualified to the group stages in terms of confederation games. NAPSA Stars facing LDs, which is a mouth-watering game as well. NAPSA Stars going in this game with a qualification. How is it a boost to them?
It's a very, very big boost for NAPSA Stars. They haven't been doing very, very well in the league. They've been struggling, but can they transform their form from their continental form into the Super League? That's something which Muhammad Fati needs to work on with his technical bench, if he can motivate the boys to try and do it in the local league, because at the end of the day, your local league is your bread and butter. What happens, you qualify to the group stages and get relegated in the league? It would be a very, very big disappointment. So NAPSA Stars would need to start getting points now, putting points on the board and climbing above, high up the table, because it's not looking very pretty for them. They're in the relegation zone, and if it reaches week 25, now you start realizing, oh, it's really, really bad for us, because now games will be running out. They need to start picking up points. They are facing a Lusaka Dynamos. It's a Lusaka derby. One of their own, calling Sikombe, moved from NAPSA Stars and is now at Lusaka Dynamos. He's going to face his former employers, calling Sikombe. And Lusaka Dynamos, they have been inconsistent as well. You see periods where they play beautiful football and you think this is a side which will challenge for continental football. And sometimes you just realize they are not that good in certain games because they fail to kill off games. They've been creating chances. They've got one of the most creative midfielders in the league. They have got Aubrey Funga. They have got Emmanuel Havasimbi. They have got Marvin Jerry. They have got Colin Sikombe. They have got Mini Cooper. They have got a very, very creative midfield, but they haven't been scoring a lot of goals, and which Coach Onyerenda talked about in the press conference that he has been working on his striking force so that they can be putting those chances away. It's something which Lusaka Dynamos, if they get that right, they will be really be a force in the league because they have drawn a lot of games. They haven't lost a lot. So if they can turn those draws into victories, they'll surely challenge for the title.
Other games that are being played, we've got Zanaco who is facing Green Eagles, we've got Kawe Warriors versus Nkwazi, and tomorrow there is Beautycon versus Young Green Eagles and Forest Rangers versus Zesco United. I had skipped one game for today, which is Green Buffaloes versus Indeni, a game which will see Mwenyachi Pepo manage.
Yeah, we've seen Mwenyachi Pepo move from Prison Leopards who have been flying in the league. They have had one of the best stats maybe in the club history in the Super League. When they got relegated in the transition season, you always feared for Prison Leopards. Will they come back up? But they did just that. They did their homework. They took time, assembled a very strong squad, and they came up in the league. And when they came up, Prison Leopards, the first order of business is to stay up. That's your first responsibility when you come from the relegation zone and from the National League and into the Super League. You first have to stay up. And then we started seeing them pick maximum points. They've been beating teams left, right, and center, and they are now on 29 points. They've managed to qualify for the ABSA Cup, and it was a shocker when Mwenyachi Pepo decided to move to Indeni, but we may not know what are the reasons which have made Mwenyachi Pepo move to Indeni, but he's going to Indeni side who haven't been very bad. Dabi Chilufya had built a very strong side which looked like was going to stay up, and I still believe that Indeni will stay up because they play some good football. They do not sit back and let team have possession. They attack teams. Their experienced striker in Graven Chitalu, he holds on to the ball, links play with midfield, and starts playing from there. So if Mwenyachi Pepo can just get this victory and kickstart his season against the struggling Buffaloes, it will be good for him and he's in the side, because what will happen now is both relationship, after the relationship between Prison Leopards and Mwenyachi Pepo, they separated. Both may be affected. You may find that Mwenyachi Pepo doesn't have it going his way at Indeni, and Prison Leopards may start to struggle as well. And Green Buffaloes in this encounter against Indeni, it's very tricky. It ended 0-0 in the reverse fixture. Now Green Buffaloes are deep into the relegation waters. They need this victory as well to try and push up. These are the games which we call 6-pointers, because both teams are in relegation zone and would love to push up high up the table and try and get to a much safer place.
We are seeing a Green Buffaloes team which was beaten by Red Arrows. Are they going in this game trying to revamp that?
Yeah, it was a very poor performance by GBFC in the previous fixture against Red Arrows. They were bullied all over the place. They were dominated in central midfield. Their defending was awful. Their strikers did nothing literally to hate Red Arrows in that encounter. And after they made the 3 substitution, just going into a time when they introduced Nebat, Mwansa, and they made 3 substitutions. Leonard Mulenga, it was a different GBFC. You could see the way they started controlling the game. They did not allow Red Arrows create a lot of chances. I think one of the big mistakes from the selection was seeing Mike Atiwa being played as a right back. He struggled as a right back. He really struggled. When Frederick Mumanzi went over to the right back position, Buffalo looked a little bit solid. Jack Chilwa was nowhere to be seen in central midfield. When Leonard Mulenga came, it was a more decent performance from Buffaloes. I think the only bright spark from the Green Buffaloes team was the young Gordon Mashata on the left. He was the only one who looked like he wanted to win. He was making runs. He made things happen. And when Nebat came on, you could see Buffaloes looked a little bit dangerous going forward, because in the first half they did not offer anything, and going into this game playing an Indian outfit were also struggling. You just need to hit the ground running as soon as the first whistle. Need to push Indian, to force them making mistakes so that you capitalize as Green Buffaloes. And we've seen in this encounter the injured Friday Sam surely is back for this encounter. Maybe he comes in with goals. He has always scored goals for GBFC. Maybe his goals would be needed now to save them from this relegation fight.
Let's just take a look at the table on how these teams are faring in terms of where GBF is and where Indeni is. So the screen isn't that much clear, but you can see.
You can see Green Buffaloes, Indeni both in the relegation zone, and a victory for either side would push them at least away from this dangerous situation they find themselves in. They've got Quito United winless. They are slowly enrolling for the Eden University. Young Green Eagles, they still have a fight in them. Lumana Radiants, Napsa Stars, Indeni. These are teams that will take this fight until the very, very end, I believe. Because if you look at this league table, 17 points is Young Green Eagles on second last position, and the top team is Sensational Zanaco with 32 points. It's not that big gap. So it's very, very tricky for all of the teams to try and stay up. It's going to be a fight up to the very end. In previous seasons, we've always had incidences whereby if you reach the 36-point mark, you are assured of safety. But this season, it looks very, very tricky. You do not know what number of points will help you stay up, what number of points you need to qualify for continental football, because it's been very tight.
Yeah, competitive.
In previous years, games would have been won before a ball was kicked. But this season, it's very, very tricky. Who would have thought Young Green Eagles would take 10 points from Power Dynamos, Zesco United, Green Buffaloes, Napsa Stars, and Lusaka Dynamos? They've managed to get 10 points from these big guns of Zambian football. And they also managed to go to Choma, face their elder brothers in Green Eagles, and got a point from there. Who would have thought when they came up, we thought they were going to be beaten left, right, and center, but they are standing there their own and giving it a very, very good fight. They got a result against Forest Rangers. They got a result against Zesco United. They got a result against Power Dynamos. They got a result against Lusaka Dynamos. This shows that this team will always try and put up a fight. They did not come to make numbers in the Super League. And one thing I've liked about Young Green Eagles, they have made their home advantage. They have done their homework. They have made Kosa Stadium a fortress, and they surely pick up 3 points when they face teams. They have beaten Zesco there. We've seen they've beaten Green Buffaloes there, and it will help them for their chance to stay up in the Super League.
A very quick one. Let's just look at the games that are being played today. That's in the Fazeden University League. We've got 15 hours sharp. That's Nzanga Rangers versus Trident. It's being played at Nzanga. We've got Jesco Shockers versus Jesco Malaiti, Independence Stadium. We've got Gomes versus Kaisa. That's being played in the Trade Fair grounds. Tomorrow, Sunday, we've got Tambishi versus Konkola Blades. We've got Mufulira Wanderers versus City of Lusaka. We've got Kashikishi versus Kafue Celtic. We've got Police College versus National Assembly. And then we've got Livingston Pirates versus Kansenshi Dynamos. And then lastly, we've got Mpulungu Hebe versus Muza FC. How has it been tight in the Fazeden League?
It's really, really tricky. A lot of teams chasing promotions, and these are veteran teams we've seen in the Super League in Konkola Blades, in City of Lusaka. We've seen Kansanshi Dynamos, Chambishi, all trying to vie for those 4 slots that are there. But one of the most disappointing teams, the National Assembly, they're now into the relegation zone, and we may see them play Division 1 football if they do not put their house in order. Nchanga Rangers, they played Konkola Blades last week in the derby, which was very, very hyped, a very, very big derby, and eventually was won by sharp plays by 4-0, beating Changa Rangers 4-0 in a derby. It's very, very sweet for Kongola Blades, and it took them top of the league. And Changa Rangers would need to respond against Trident, who came out from their last fixture against Muza with a victory and pushed them out of the relegation zone, which is very, very interesting for a side of Trident, which were being dubbed as one of those sides who try and get the one of those 4 slots because they are playing some good football. They played Division 1 without a loss. And
you can just pick this call, Augustine.
Good afternoon. You're through to Off the Pitch. Augustine on the line. Who am I speaking to? Hello. Hello.
We seem to have lost that call, Augustine. You are saying big teams that once played in the Super Division are the teams that are trying to struggle, wanting to get points at the end of the day, but it's being tight and challenging. Any new names that you can see in the Super League next season?
I think from the look of things, probably we'll see the same names that have been in the Super League, because teams that haven't been in the Super League, they are very, very far away from the chasing pack. You see Kansanshi Dynamos, we've seen Konkola Blades, we've seen City of Lusaka, we've seen Chambeshi Football Club, even Changa themselves, they are pushing for those continental for those slots to come into the Super League. And we've heard that Kashikishi Warriors have parted ways with their coach and Corruption's team. They haven't had it easy in the national
that's
league.
That's where he is. Corruption is solving the Kashikishi issue. Anyway, let's maybe move away. Let's take out the EPL leagues. That's something that we haven't spoken of for some time now. We are seeing the first game, which is starting at 14:30. That's the high-flying Man City facing West Ham. Let's look at the West Ham, which has been in form as well. The West Ham that has seen goals, and they've purchased one of our players, who I can call Lingard, the one they call Lingardinho. How is Man City going? Is this a simple game for Man City?
No, it's one of those tricky encounters. West Ham, they have proved to be very stubborn this season. They are in those Champions League places, pushing for those Champions League places. West Ham, who would have thought David Moyes would transform West Ham to where they are now? They have found a way in West Ham, the way they play. They are very, very solid. They try to hit teams on the counter. They have got a very big and strong Mikel Antonio playing down the middle. Whenever they are in trouble, they can try and go long to him and start playing from there. And they have got a very strong midfield, which is working in Suchek, Declan Rice. They really work hard for West Ham and cover a lot of blade of grass. And we've seen Lingardinho, Lord Lingard, like they call him. Yeah, Jesse Lingard is rediscovering his form. He's one player who I felt Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did not give chance, because if you remember when Jose Mourinho was in charge of Manchester United, he's one player who he said is very hardworking, and Jesse Lingard will always give you 100+. And unfortunately, Jose Mourinho was punished by his player in Jesse Lingard, beating Tottenham by 2-1, pushing them closer to those Champions League places and trying to qualify for Champions League football. Manchester City, they look like they are running away with the title, to be honest, because I do not see City losing any game anytime soon, because it's like a moving train. No one can stop a moving train. They're not conceding goals. They have had the injuries here and there. Key players in Kun Aguero and Kevin De Bruyne, but they still play the same way. So that's very worrying to all the teams. What if Manchester City have got a full and strong squad going into the remaining games of the season? It's going to be tricky. And one player who has impressed me a lot has been Zinchenko. A lot, he's not been mentioned a lot, but he's been very good at left back for Manchester City. Ilkay Gundogan has been very impressive, scoring goals from midfield. He's their leading scorer. Diaz has come in and has controlled that back line for City. I think City are favourites in this encounter.
We've got West Brom who's facing Brighton, and the game is being played at 17 hours. I think one of the toughest challenges that Big Sam has had is reviving West Brom Albion back into or out of the relegation zone.
He has always been seen as the guy who saves teams from relegation, but this time around it's very, very tricky for Big Sam. Sorry, Big Sam will be relegated this season.
We are seeing Leeds and Aston Villa, two teams that are of a shock, two teams that are very hard to beat, going against each other. Who are you giving it to, Leeds versus Aston Villa?
Probably one of my favorite teams in the season. Both teams, Villa and Leeds, have been playing beautiful, expansive football. They are very attack-minded. We are going to see the battle of Jack Grealish in central midfield alongside he has got the support of Trezeguet and Nakamba, the Zimbabwe international, who Zambia will be facing very, very soon. And Leeds United have got Jimmy Buckford, who's been scoring goals for fun. This is a game which promises to have goals. Both teams will attack each other, and it's going to be an end-to-end stuff. But I think Leeds will carry the day.
The last game, which is being played at 22 today, that's Newcastle versus Wolves. A Wolves side again, which has been a very bit of a challenge to beat, I would say. And for me, I would say I would give it to Wolves because Newcastle has been up there, down. So for me, for this one, I would go with Wolves. Tomorrow, 28th Feb, which we have games that are very excited, I would say, because we've got Crystal Palace who is facing Fulham. That's at 14 hours sharp. And then again at 14, we've got Leicester City versus Arsenal. A very good and very big encounter for both teams, Augustine.
Yeah, Leicester have started the season like they ended last season. Last season, Leicester City missed out on Champions League football because their form dipped towards January, the end of January, and leading up to May. Their form that had dipped, but you can see this time around they have started very, very strong. Harvey Barnes looks a different player. Jimmy Vardy, Maddison, they look very, very tricky. And it's a side which will always score goals in Leicester City because they play attacking football. They use the wings very, very well. And they're playing against an Arsenal side. It's very, very unpredictable. You never know which Arsenal side will turn up on the day. Bukayo Saka probably has been Arsenal's best player this season. He's a revelation to the club, really has been playing some exciting football. Is a breath of fresh air. Aubameyang doesn't look like the Aubameyang of 2-3 seasons ago. He looked a little bit poor, but we expect to be a very tricky encounter, but I think Leicester would be too strong for Arsenal.
Other games that are being played tomorrow, that's Spurs versus Burnley. It's at 16 hours, and then we've got the bigger Sunday for me, which is Chelsea hosting Man United, the game that is full of anticipation and full of predictions, Augustine. Yeah,
Chelsea have been a different side under Thomas Tuchel. We must say they have been playing beautiful football. They keep the ball more than they did in recent years. They are passing it very, very well, and they look a very different side, Chelsea, and they are very, very dangerous for United going into this encounter because Thomas Tuchel has transformed the side. We've seen Kai Havertz looks a little bit different. Timo Werner, although they are not getting the goals, but they are playing with a little bit of freedom. They go into this encounter Chelsea as favourites because they haven't lost the game under Thomas Tuchel. United will always try and play on a counter, which will be a danger for Chelsea, and I think it will end in a draw.
The last game tomorrow, that's at 21:15, that's Sheffield United versus Liverpool. Something that we're looking forward to because Liverpool has been having sort of a bad run as of current. Augustine, your last and final remarks.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful show. Thanks to all the viewers out there who've tuned in to watch the show. It's been a very good week. Red Arrows started the weekend on a positive note, beating Quito United by 2-0. A big thanks to the entire production team and to the viewers out there. One of the viewers, Theoma Tembo, Indeni defender, she said that I should mention her because she wants to get back to the field and playing football. And we just hope everything goes well at the AGM, and Zambian football may be the winner at the end of the day.
Hopefully, yeah, we hope that the league will be revamped because a lot of female players are just being there hoping and waiting to hear what will be decided today. But anyway, on behalf of the whole entire production team, Precious, Mzee Sakaleji, Isaac upstairs. They are not forgetting Ango Rapson, who is in the field gathering information and news in terms of what will happen in the Nkana Power Dynamos debut. For me, Amos aka Amore, it's bye-bye. See you next week, same time, same place.